All right, everyone, we're going to get started. So again, my name is Jeff. I'm a co-founder of Rhombus. We are a formation of consensus, and we build oracles for smart contracts. And I'm going to start with by far the most important part of this talk. It's about money, bounties. So at the end of this talk, we're going to supply a link through which you can register to qualify for Rhombus bounties. Any dApp that uses a Rhombus oracle can qualify. There are cash prizes up to $1,000 for the best 4 projects. In addition to that, the first 15 projects that commit to using a Rhombus oracle and then actually follow through, whether or not they win a prize, they're guaranteed to get $100 just by committing early on to using a Rhombus oracle. So pay attention to this talk. At the very end, I'll have a link for you to register and instructions. You can lock down that $100 within this half an hour. That said, I'm going to turn this over to Doug, our CEO and technical lead. He's going to talk to you about Rhombus oracles.
Thanks, Jeff. Money's good. All right. This is good? OK. So this talk is specifically about our development environment for using real-world data in your dApp. We're an Oracle platform, so we source, compute, and supply data to your smart contract. And so I'll just start by just giving you an overview. Thanks. Thanks. I'll give you an overview of what exactly an Oracle is, and then I'll jump right into our development tools. So first is sourcing data. We have curated a bunch of really high-quality data suppliers, but we're also available to loop in whatever data suppliers you want, and we can also wrap any proprietary data that you want included in the data that's delivered into your dApp. So again, we have a booth right up there. You can come talk to us. If you need something for the hackathon, you can let us know. We can try to build it for you. Second is we have best-in-class computation. So just to give you an example of the complexity of computation we can do on top of your data, this up there is a picture, a satellite image. We have the satellite image supplied by Digital Globe or some other satellite provider. And then we can run a bunch of complex functions on top of that information. So here we're looking at the entropy that's generated by the infrared data of that satellite imagery. And for example, if a farmer wanted to insure against a heat wave for a week, and it goes above, they don't want it to go above 100 degrees or 105 degrees, otherwise they lose their crop, we can compute that on top of all of our satellite data and deliver to the smart contract, if it's an insurance contract on chain, whether that event happened or not. So that's just one example of a lot of complex computations we can do on top of your data. We can aggregate, we can do machine learning and AI, all sorts of things like that. And then last is delivery. We have a bunch of different ways we can deliver the data to your smart contract. We can deliver it whenever you request it, so a single delivery. You say, hey, I want this satellite imagery computed. I want this machine learning result. You request it on chain, and we listen for that, and we deliver it straight to your function. Your function has all your company's business logic, your dApp's business logic, and it will trigger based on what's going on in the outside world. We can also deliver information periodically. So if you need something every 15 seconds, 10 minutes, hourly, daily, something like that, we can set up a recurring feed for all of your computations that are happening off-chain. Additionally, we can only deliver the data if there's a threshold that's met. So for example, Maker only wanted information about the price of ETH when there was a 1% change in value. So we only delivered that data exactly when exactly when there was a 1% change in the price of ETH. Along with the delivery, there's a lot of cryptographic payload that we can include so that you know that we carried out the computation and the data sourcing in good faith. And that's pretty much the whole overview of what an oracle is. Now I can just jump into our development tools. So today we released a blog post on our blog, which you should check out. blog.rhombus.network. And if you go to this top blog post about the resources that we've released for Biddle Week and the hackathon, I can just walk you through the oracles that we have made publicly available. We can also create custom ones for you upon request. And then Jackie over here is going to walk through our truffle development suite. We built a truffle box that you can just quickly download and get started using our oracles. So let's just start with the oracle feeds. We have a public library with all of our code, and you can, well, we'll go through the code later. But so here we have, you can see we have hourly updates for financial data. We selected Amazon, NVIDIA, and Tesla just to begin with. We have USD exchange rate to British pound, euro, and yen. And then we partnered with Alethio to give you the last hour of ETH transaction volume and transactions on chain. And then we threw in a couple that we've been using for our example dApps that we also built for you. One of them is for a subscription service, which I'll describe later. It's how much ETH is 10 cents of US dollar, and some exchange rate, gold exchange rate. We built a derivatives contract with OpenLaw that involved our US dollar to gold exchange rate, some temperature data, and then a random number generator. We found that a lot of people just want a source of entropy in their dApps, so we're able to give you that entropy if you just ask. Right now we do it as a random number 1 through 6, and then we also can are randomly delivering a color of the rainbow, in case you want to make a colorful dApp that changes. So quickly, just to go through an example, if you click this link, you can see it's the US dollar to ETH exchange rate. This is a smart contract that's deployed on Rinkeby. We can also deploy it on Gurley if you want. Just ask. But right now, we've just defaulted to Rinkeby. And you can see that we deliver the price of ETH exchange rate to US dollar every hour. And it's been going back. I think we made this live about 4 days ago. So if we click into a transaction here, you can then see that the two values were delivered, on the actual value and then a nonce. We don't need to really care too much about the nonce. And I'm just going to quickly translate that into a number for you all. So if we translate this hex code into a number, it looks like it's 120.85. And I'll just walk through one more. We have more documentation online. It's all on this blog post. Just want to show you a random string from the color of the rainbow. So if you click in, we deliver this one every 10 minutes. Again, if you ask, we can increase the rate that we deliver your data, and we can also customize the data for your dApp. So here we have a random color that was sent, and let's see what it is. Looks like we got blue as a string. So those are some high-level examples of the oracles we have available for you right now. And we've also released, under the MIT license, 3 different dApps that use our Lighthouse contracts, our oracles, to do subscription services. So here, we deliver the price of ETH daily, and we poke a dApp on-chain that then sends $1 to a wallet of your specification. So here we're paying $1 to a wallet every day based on some subscription they might have. The live dApp is here. And this one is a subscription dApp where you can get a minute. You can subscribe for a minute-based granularity of a video feed. This is totally imaginary, doesn't exist. But all the subscription happens on-chain using our exchange rate oracle to negotiate the price. And once it has the price. It can register that the user has maybe purchased 10 minutes of video feed. And then here we've created an example DApp using the ERC721 fungibility token. We have a price of gold oracle, and we use the ERC721 non-fungibility token to represent a unique gold bar that's been minted. And then you can split that gold bar up into tinier tokens, which you can then trade around. And all of this is based off of live updated US dollar to gold prices. So definitely check those dApps out if you want to make a subscription service or use non-fungibility tokens in your dApps. We have a whole bunch of stuff here. All of it's MIT licensed, so you can use it and play with it and have a lot of fun. So that's the overview of the dApp, and then I'm going to let Jackie show you the Truffle development suite.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jackie. I'll be going over a project I have created, a demo dApp that will showcase how you can interact with the Rhombus oracles and how you can utilize our local testing framework to its full potential. So for the hackers out there, this is how you can get that first place reward from us, okay? Pay attention. So to start off with an overview, Rhombus has currently deployed a bunch of different oracles onto the Rinkeby testnet. They provide you with different information, such as the price of ether, temperature of cities. They can provide you with random numbers and colors, everything you can think of. And if you have anything that you would want created that is not on our current list, you can come to us and we'll build it for you right there, custom made. Now, whenever you're doing your dApp development, you'll probably be doing a lot of testing with it. You'll want to interact with our oracles to see how it works, what kind of return values you get, and how you can incorporate that into your project. This is a bit of an issue because our oracles are on the Rinkeby testnet, and you will be doing your development using Truffle on a local chain. So in order to do testing with our oracles, you'll have to simulate a Rhombus oracle and deploy your own onto your local chain. And I'm going to go through how you can do that. We have the code provided for you. You can use it as a reference, and it will be uploaded for you as well. So if we jump into the Truffle build folder, or the Truffle contracts folder, you'll see 4 pre-existing smart contracts here. We've provided you our Lighthouse code that you can utilize in your testing, as well as an interface that your smart contract will use to obtain data values from. Jumping straight into the project, we use the Truffle framework in order to do development. And so if you're unfamiliar with that, I would strongly suggest checking out the Truffle documentation before you head into our oracles. So to develop and test locally on Truffle, you will do everything you normally do with the smart contracts, writing test cases in Solidity or JavaScript, and you just need to add one step before everything, which is the step of developing and deploying a Rhombus Lighthouse Oracle and writing a value into it, right? This will simulate what we, the Rhombus team, have done and created on the Rinkeby testnet. So you create a new Lighthouse, and you write a hard-coded value into the Lighthouse that you can then access. With more information about the project, this sample project that I've created for you to use and reference is a gambling game. It's a smart contract which allows you to deposit ether into it and to bet that ether you've deposited onto the outcome of a dice roll. Now, the dice roll is a random number generation event, and typically this is very hard to do on Ethereum blockchain because every node has to generate the same random number. Rhombus is able to bypass this because it's able to compute a random number off-chain and then deliver that number to you through our Oracle service. So this is the code for my project. You can run through all the details on your own time and go through each of the functions, understand how it works. But to overview of a highlight of how to interact with a Rhombus Oracle, when you construct your Solidity smart contract, you have to pass in the address of the lighthouse that you'll be using into the constructor. This tells your DApp where it needs to go to obtain the information from the Lighthouse Rhombus Oracle. And in order to access the information, you can make a simple read call into the Oracle, as shown on this line. You call the Lighthouse, and you look at the data in it, and it will return the value to you. In this case, it's the lucky number that we've chosen that will win our dice roll. So once again, all of this code will be available for you on our blog post. You can look through this demo project and utilize it. You can change the code and alter it, copy it, do whatever you want. If you have any further questions about this project or about how to get started with developing with Rhombus, please come to our desk on the second floor. We'll be happy to help you with that. And now I'd like to open the floor space to questions that you might have for us.
Thanks, Jackie. So any questions about developing using Rhombus, getting custom data delivered to your DApp, or anything like that? Sorry, is there a question? Oh, you have. Okay. Yes. Yeah. So the question was just to go in more detail about the entropy, the random number that we send on chain. So we use cellular automata to generate the entropy. It's an uncomputable function. It's kind of like a Mersenne prime, where you start with a seed, and then you go from there. And once you get several steps out, there's no real way to predict what the next number is going to be. So that's our source of entropy. It's pseudo-random in a way, but it's as random as any other source of entropy that you can get. And then to make sure that the same value gets delivered on chain, this Lighthouse contract receives the data, the random number that we send, and then that gets loaded in or included in the blockchain. So now everybody who's reading from that Lighthouse contract gets the same number. Okay. Exactly. Yes, that's how we were able to release 20 of these oracles. And each one has the Amazon price or the temperature in Boston, and that all gets delivered to one contract. We can do custom feeds, which we call direct delivery, but we're not releasing that for the hackathon. That's something that we do more custom. Sure. So the question is, when are they available on main chain? And the answer is, we're already on main chain. It's very easy for us to go from Rinkeby to mainnet, or to deliver to a private net. We have all the code in place to immediately switch you over to mainnet if you want that.
So for oracles that deliver things like crypto prices, what is your authoritative kind of price source? Do you hit a bunch of different exchanges and kind of take a median, or do you do anything like that, or what do you do?
So it depends on your use case. We've released one that gets its source data from a publicly traded company that we can't divulge except one-on-one. So we have several different people that we source our data from, and often we aggregate them all together and throw out some outliers and just take the median value. That's traditional, but we're able to do add any sort of robustness that you want to your price feed. If you just come up to us and ask, We can customize the exchanges it comes from. But we're trying to be an Oracle platform, so we really care about the quality of the data that comes in, and we do a lot of vetting, and we only take the best data suppliers that are available for a certain real-world event.
So you touched on this briefly, but how do you verify that the computation or whatever that's the input data is valid?
So there's a lot of ways to verify input data. It depends on how paranoid you are about where your data is coming from. A lot of the times we have a whole ETL cycle that includes a lot of people who are making sure that the data comes in is consistent, reliable, and computable, like up to a very high standard. But if you specify something like flight aware or a different API that you want in your Oracle, it's often just the SSL signature that you do in the HTTPS call. So that signature uses DNS and might not be the level of reliability that you want, but we can offer a lot more guarantees on top of that if you just ask. Sometimes we will make the provider sign the data. Sometimes we'll sign the data ourselves, or provide a hash of all the computation that's happened, and then sign that and deliver it. We can have a custom secure payload delivered with every value if you want.
And how if you, I assume you can integrate in with like a private chain that maybe is a consortium chain on Hyperledger Fabric. Can you explain just briefly how you would interface or invoke an Oracle contract, or to retrieve data back to a private chain?
So we're trying to have the best and easiest way to start using oracles. So for us, if we're trying to deploy to a private chain, it's as easy as giving us a node or an account on that chain, an RPC endpoint, and we can manage the whole process. It's the same exact pipeline for management that we use for main chain, for testnet versus private. We can just scale horizontally very easily.
Hey, how do you deal with potential conflicts of interest, as a trusted Oracle?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, how do you manage potential conflicts of interest as like a trusted party?
So the question is about conflicts of interest. So this goes back to the security of the underlying data. We can provide cryptographic payloads that attest to the reliability of the data, where it's been sourced, what's happened to it along the way. And each one of those security measures that we add onto the payload reduce the conflicts of interest. I would say there's probably no way to reduce it to zero. We can't, but we do our best. And if you're really paranoid about the data that you're getting and the computation we're doing, we can just keep layering on more levels of security until you're confident. One of the things that I'm excited about that we might be releasing at the end of this year is a zero-knowledge proof payload. So you can use that proof and query it and prove beyond a reasonable doubt that we did everything you asked. But that's later in this year. These are good questions. Any more questions? All right, well, I'll leave it with Jeff to do the sign-off. Thanks, everyone.
Cool. So just to wrap up the Rhombus talk, I want to review the bounties one last time. The 4 best dApps at ETH Denver that use Rhombus oracles receive cash prizes up to 1,000. And the first 15 projects starting right now that commit to using a Rhombus oracle can guarantee $100. It's probably the quickest $100 you've ever earned. And the way to do it is to register on our Telegram channel right now. So it's t.me/Rhombus Network. If you go in there, there will be instructions. You need to include your name, your project, and the oracle that you plan to use. As soon as you do that, you're on our list of the first 15. You can come visit our booth for the next steps. Thanks very much, everybody.